जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna and welcome back. Thank you for joining. Today we are discussing verse number 16 of chapter number 2 from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And in the last few verses, particularly verse 14 and 15 of chapter 2, Lord Krishna advises to tolerate happiness and distress, which appears and disappears like summer and winter season. And when one performs their prescribed duties in such equanimity, they become eligible for liberation. So Krishna is telling to focus on higher goals of life and do not be distracted by ups and downs which will come and go in life. So they will come and go, but you focus on the right things. So now Krishna is going to talk about two different kinds of nature in verse number 16. So let's see the verse. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, ubayorapi drishtontas, tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. The translation is, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both of them. So let's understand this verse line by line. So na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. So there are two words, which is, one is asat, and asataha means of non-existent, and then there is another word which is sataha. Sata means eternal. So here, the word asat means temporary and sat means eternal. So Mayavadi says that Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. So Brahma Satya means Brahma is truth or real, and Jagat is Mithya. Mithya means false, which doesn't exist. But here Krishna is saying that the material world is not false, but it is temporary. So Asata means temporary, and Sat means eternal. So there are two natures, as we talked about it. Krishna is saying that there are two natures. One is temporary and the second one is eternal. So when the temporary is existing, it is real, but when it does not exist, it forever actually. So when it exists for real. It's not false. It's not that the things around us, the body, the material world which we see, and the things existing around us, they are not that they are illusion or they don't exist, but they are not existing forever. So another example can be given, that the cloud in the sky, when it is existing, it's real, but after pouring rain, then after dumping all the water, then they are gone. So it is temporary in nature. So again, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. Everything existing in this material world is temporary, but real. And everything related to the spirit, that is Sata, is unchanging and eternal. So spirit soul is eternal, spiritual world is eternal. So they all exist eternally, and that's why if you see this picture, in this picture there are two worlds. One is the material world, and then this is the spiritual world. So this part is the material world, which is temporary. It's temporary in the sense that it exists. When it exists, it's real, but then after some time it doesn't exist. So it's gone for some time. Then again it has been recreated. But this part, which is the spiritual world, it is eternal. It never changes. It's always existing. So in the Upanishad we see, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a Shanti mantra. So that Shanti mantra, 1.3.28, it is been said that Asatoma Satgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityomar Amritagamaya. and Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is the Shanti mantra. So here is also the first line says Asatoma Sadgamaya. O Lord, please take me from that which is Asat, which is temporary, to that which is Sat. Asatoma Sadgamaya. Take me from temporary to the eternal world. O Lord, please lead my way from Asat to Sat. So then the next statement is Ubhayor and Tattvadarshibhi. So that is the next line. Ubhayorapi drishtantas tanayos tattva darshibhi. So what is Ubhayor? Ubhayor means both. So both means Sat and Asat. We need to both know both of them. We need to have knowledge of both of them. And then drishtantas. So drishtantas is two words. Drishti. Drishti means to see or observe. And anta means end or conclusion. So when our drishti comes to a conclusion, that is drishtantas. And then the next word is tvanayos tattvadarshibhi. So tattvadarshibhi, this phrase will actually come many times in Bhagavad Gita. So what does that mean? So Tattvadarshi means, Tattva means truth. Darshibhi means somebody who knows or who is a seer of the truth. Right? So somebody who is a seer of the truth is Tattvadarshi. So they have studied both. So here the meaning of Ubhayor means both. So what the Tattvadarshis have done? So they have studied both and then they have come to a conclusion. So what conclusion they have come? They have come to a conclusion that na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. So this conclusion is the conclusion of the Tattvadarshi. They have concluded after studying both of them that na sato means for asat, which is material or something that is temporary. There is no existence for long time, or there is no endurance. So the word is used is endurance. So there is no, so temporary is not existing for long time, but temporary is real when it is existing. And for Sat, which is spiritual, it is eternal, and then there is no cessation, means it eternally exists. So these are the two natures that has been concluded by the Tattvadarshi. So here is a personality being shown that they have studied both and they have concluded that conclusion about Sat and Asat. So then there is a difference that we need to see between these two brackets where Prabhupada is using in his translation. Those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, and then in the square bracket is putting the material body. So this square brackets are put to add what has been said earlier. Basically it is used to clarify the meaning, and then there are other kinds of brackets. The other kinds of brackets is this this kind of bracket, if you see. So something which is put in the square bracket means it is put to clear the meaning or clarify the meaning. And if something is put in this kind of brackets, means it is put by the author himself and he wants to clarify the meaning. He wants to, this is done by the author himself and to clarify the meaning. And this is for also clarification, but to make the points clear, which is the original author must have written something and it is not clear. So in order to make it more clear, something has been put over here. So here, because this non-existent may not be clear, so Prabhupada puts the material body. And then eternal. So what is eternal? So Prabhupada is putting the word within this square bracket as the soul to make it more clear for all the readers. So this is how actually we see that very nicely. This is a kind of very poetic verse. Na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sata. So this is how Krishna is talking about or expounding more details about the soul and matter. That matter is temporary and soul is eternal. So this all comes under the analytical study of spirit and matter, and Krishna is nicely describing this to Arjuna in a very poetic way. Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a poem. Gita means poem, and it is in Sanskrit, and the Sanskrit was original language of conversation. So there are two kinds of writing. One is called as text, and other is poetry. Or you might hear this word Gadya and Padya. So Gadya means prose, and Padya means poetry. So prose can also have some rhyming words. But here poetry is more esoteric and multiple levels of meanings are there. So writing poetry is kind of art. So Bhagavad Gita is a poetry. It's a philosophical poem which is recited by Supreme Lord, and it is the topmost of all the philosophy. So one should try to actually recite these verses of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and also try to memorize this if it is possible. So if you see that the first statement and the second statement, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah. So this is kind of inversion. So the first part of the statement is, in the second part it is being inverted. So this is how Krishna is very beautifully reciting this particular two lines in the first and the second one. So here we see that Krishna is saying that the body and the material world is non-existent, which is nasato, means asata. So how is that possible? I see my hands, I see my legs, and I also see actually things around me. So this non-existent word has been used here. So I see things around me. So Srila Prabhupada uses the word non-existent in terms of temporary, or in terms of illusion, meaning that it's like a dream. While we are experiencing things in a dream, it is a reality for us. For example, if a dream we are seeing a tiger is chasing us, but then when we wake up, then the tiger is not there anymore. But when we are experiencing in the dream, when we are seeing things in the dream, it is true for us. So that dream, though the dream is false, but our experience in the dream is actually there. It appears to be true. But also we know that the dream is false, so there is no meaning to it. So similarly, the world is called as illusion, meaning it's there, but after some time it will not be there. For example, we have a family, we have possessions, we have hobbies. These things are not going to be there forever. To the extent we get actually caught up with them, to that extent actually we suffer. We get tormented by emotionally when the things with which we are attached to is being taken away from us. So we emotionally get choked, and then even we can die. A lot of people get shocked when there is some tragedy that happens with them, and they die out of that shock. So getting attached to the illusion is very unfortunate. For example, we are dreaming, and then we see a beautiful dream, and then a nice dream which we like, and then we get awake. But when we get awake, we want to again go back and see and continue with the same dream. So it is a dream, but it's unfortunate that we get attached to that kind of event which is there in the dream. So similarly, getting attached to things in this world, it's kind of dream-like situation. And bhakti tells us that this illusion is not the body or the relation or the inclinations or the world at large. So the process of bhakti tells us that this illusion, the actual illusion, is our inability to see in connection with Krishna. Now let me explain what I am saying. So this is explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam 9th canto 34th verse. So I have opened up this verse over here, Srimad Bhagavatam 2:9-34, 2nd canto 9th chapter, 34th verse. So there are 4 verses which are called as nutshell verses, or the entire Srimad Bhagavatam can be summarized in those 4 verses. So those 4 verses are 2, 9, 33, 34, 35 and 36. So that is called as Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. So in the Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam, similarly, there is a Chatur Shloki Gita also. So in Gita also there are 4 slokas, one after another. 10th chapter, 8th verse, 10th chapter, 9th, 10 and 10, 11. So when you read all those 4 verses, the entire Bhagavad Gita can be summarized in those 4 verses. So that's why it is called as Chatur. Chatur means 4. So Chatur Shloki Gita. Similarly here, Chatur Shloki Bhagavatam. So this is the second of the Chatur Shloka, where Krishna is saying that, "O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value," because he is saying to Brahma, so that whatever you see in this world, material world, which has any value, if it is without relation to me, if it is not connected with Krishna, then Krishna is saying that has no reality. So that is illusion. So if we do not connect things in this world with Krishna, so that is actually illusion. So that is the meaning of illusion. So if it doesn't have any relationship with Krishna, no relation with Krishna, or if we do not see any connection of these things in this world with Krishna, that is the illusion, or that is Maya. So illusion sees in so when somebody is out of illusion, they can see things in connection with Krishna. So basically when we see things in connection with Krishna, then we can use those things in Krishna's service. Otherwise, we don't use it in Krishna's service. We use it for our enjoyment. And that is called as asat. Asat means they are not illusion, but they are illusory. Right? When we don't see the temporary in connection with Krishna, then we become illusioned. So that is the point. And then Krishna is saying, know it as my illusory energy. That reflection which appears to be in darkness. So this is the whole point, that this world is real, but because of our tendency to see these objects in this world separate from Krishna, that is the illusion. That is the illusion which we have. Okay, so now we'll continue with the discussion what has been Prabhupada is actually giving the purport. So we have discussed all these points. Now the first point in the purport Srila Prabhupada says is difference between matter and spirit. So there is no endurance, means it's temporary, of the changing body. That the body is changing every moment by the actions and reactions of the different cells is admitted by the modern medical science. And thus growth and old age are taking place in the body. But the spirit soul exists permanently, remaining the same despite all changes of the body and the mind. That is the difference between matter and spirit. By nature, the body is ever changing and the soul is eternal. So the spirit soul and the matter, the spirit soul never changes, it's eternal, and the matter always changes, it is temporary, right? So that is the point which is being discussed over here. And then the conclusion means the seers of the truth. So the conclusion of the seers of the truth. This conclusion is established by all class of seers of the truth, both impersonalist and personalist. So there are two kinds of seers of truth. One is personalist, who believes that Krishna has a personality, and impersonalist means they believe that Krishna doesn't have a personality, that is, Krishna is Brahman. So both of them have the same understanding, that the soul is eternal and the material body is matter, is temporary, and it's always changing. So how would they say that? That is after studying the scripture. So in the Vishnu Purana 2.12.38, it is stated that Vishnu and his abodes all have self-illuminated spiritual existence, which is Jyotimsi Vishnur Bhuvanani Vishnu. The word existent and non-existent refer only to spirit and matter. That is a version of the seers of the truth. So basically they have studied all the scriptures, and then they have also come to the same conclusion that the spirit is eternal and the matter is temporary, and it keeps on changing. And then how do we know about this? So that's why Prabhupada is bringing this point about Sambandha Gyan. Sambandha Gyan means knowledge of the Supreme Lord. And unless we have knowledge, we don't understand these things. So this is the Sambandha Gyan, knowing about ourselves, knowing about the Lord, knowing about the material world, knowing about our relationship with the Lord. So this is the beginning of the instruction by the Lord to the living entities. So Krishna is using Arjuna as to give this instruction, but it is for all of us. So this is the beginning of the instruction of Lord to the living entities who are bewildered by the influence of ignorance. So normally somebody who has not studied, they are actually bewildered by ignorance, and for them this knowledge is given by Krishna. Removal of inorganic involves the re-establishment of the eternal removal of ignorance involves the re-establishment of the eternal relation between the worshippers and the worshipable, and the consequent understanding of the difference between the part and parcel of the living entities and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So basically, removal of ignorance means giving of knowledge. That will in order to do that, we need to understand our relationship, which is broken right now. So relationship between the worshipper means us, and the worshipable, which is Lord, and the consequent understanding of the difference between part and parcel of the living entity and the Supreme. So understanding about the Lord himself, that he is the Supreme, and all the other living entities are his parts and parcel. So we need to understand this first. That kind of knowledge is called as Sambandha Gyan. One can understand the nature of the Supreme by thorough study of oneself, and the difference between oneself and the Supreme Being understood as the relation between the part and the whole. So if we study ourselves, then we can, if we know our nature, that's what Srila Prabhupada says in many of his lectures, that in order to know the Lord, we need to study ourselves and know our nature. Like we are person, the Lord is also person, but then we understand about the Lord, that we are his parts and parcel, and he is supreme, he is one, and we are many. There is many living entity having different relations with the Supreme Lord. So the scriptures reveal origin of all emanations. So scriptures tell us that the Supreme Lord is the origin of all the emanations. In the Vedanta Sutra, as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme has been accepted as the origin of all emanations. So from the Lord, everything emanates, everything comes from him. Such emanations are experienced by superior and inferior natural consequences. So it's experienced by all of them. The living entities belong to the superior nature, and it will be revealed in the 7th chapter. So different energies of Krishna, and the living entity is the superior energy of Krishna, whereas material energy is the inferior energy of Krishna. But both are actually coming from the Lord. Although there is no difference between the energy and the energetic is accepted as the Supreme. So there is an energy, and there is an energetic from whom this energy is coming. So naturally the energetic is superior, and the energy or the nature is accepted as the subordinate. So that will be like the sunshine is the energy of sun. So sun is superior to the sunshine. So similarly, sun can be compared to the Lord, and the sunshine can be compared to the particles of the sunshine can be compared to the living entities. And then Prabhupada talks about the position of the living entities. The living entities therefore are always subordinate to the Supreme Lord, as in case of the master and the servant, or the teacher and the taught. So teacher is always at the superior position than the person who is being taught. Similarly, the master is superior to the servant. Similarly, the Supreme Lord is is superior to the living entities. Purpose of teaching Bhagavad Gita. So such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. So when we are covered by Maya, we will not be able to understand. So that's why we request the Lord, Asatoma Sadgamaya, means I am covered by ignorance. Please lead my way to the superior knowledge or to the truth. Satgamaya. Such clear knowledge is impossible to understand under the spell of ignorance. And to drive away such ignorance, the Lord teaches the Bhagavad Gita for enlightenment of all living entities for all time. So this knowledge the Lord teaches for every living entity. It is not restricted to one person, because all of us are soul. So people having human body, whether they are from America, India, or China, or Japan, they are all having soul, having a body, different kinds of body. So this knowledge is applicable to anybody in any kind of body. If they have a body, human body, or animal body, or a plant body, or different kind of bodies are there we see around us. But in the other bodies it's difficult to understand. Only it's possible to understand in human body, because with human body we have been given intelligence through which we can discriminate or understand what has been spoken by the Supreme Lord in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So when we study this, then gradually our coverings of ignorance are removed, and then gradually we are enlightened with the knowledge of the spirit soul, which is Sat, which is eternal, and the difference between spirit soul, which is Sat and eternal, and Asat, which is the material world, which is temporary. So this is what is explained in this particular purport. And this is a summary of the discussion which is there in the purport. You can read whenever you get time. So thank you so much. We'll continue with the discussion on the science of soul in the future verses. And with this, we'll stop here. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande Haribol.